locked in. Okay, Mayor, the meeting is yours.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Vinton Town Council meeting for this Tuesday, December 6, 2022. Susan, if you would call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lyles.
Here.
Councilmember Mullins. Here. Councilmember Stovall.
Here.
Vice Mayor McCarty.
Here.
Mayor Gross.
Here. Thank you, folks. With that, we'll move to our moment of silence, which we use here in Vinton so that everyone has the opportunity to pray or meditate as they see fit. During your prayers, I hope you'll keep this country and this community in your thoughts and prayers, and of course the meeting here tonight. It's a very special time, so let's pray for additional peace and safety throughout the holiday season. While we're standing, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Lyles, who's going to do that today?
Well, like you just mentioned special, and the town's been very blessed, like for the last, I think, 20 months maybe, but this is the first full year that Cody Sexton has been like a whole year on staff, and it would be an honor if he would do the Pledge of Allegiance.
It certainly would. You think we can arrange that?
I've already confronted him.
Oh, confronted. I said confronted.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, folks. So that was kind of a celebration in a lot of ways, right? All right, upcoming community events. I'll bet there's a lot going on, huh?
There's
Vice
a
Mayor?
lot going on. There's a lot going on. Twin Creeks, of course, they have their bingo on Wednesday nights at 6, trivia on Thursday night at 6, and Friday and Saturday they have live music. Rosie's on the 9th of December has Christian Quisenberry Band at 8 p.m. On the 10th, they have 369 Music at 8 p.m. The Lancerlot is having open ice skating from 1 to 3:30 p.m. for the next 2 weeks on Monday through Friday. On the 10th, it's open skating at 8 p.m. and on the 17th, it's open skating at 8 p.m. December the 10th, there's a Vinton Farmers Market pop-up Christmas market. That's from 9 to 2 p.m. To sign up, you can call or email Chastity Barber at vintonva.gov. The Vinton War Memorial has the parade of trees on the lawn of the War Memorial where Santa will be. We had to cancel tonight due to the rain, but he will be there on December the 10th from 9 to 11, December the 17th from 9 to 11, and December the 22nd from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And just a thank you to everyone, all of the businesses that participated in putting up a tree, and for Public Works for keeping the trees up. I've gone by there, my tree's been down. It's been on the ground, it's been leaning over, and they keep fixing it back for me, so I greatly appreciate that. The other thing is a shout out to the Veterinary Chamber of Commerce for a very, a great parade. It was just a great night. It was cold, which was good for the parade. Lots of floats, and it was a great night for all. For the tree lighting that happened at 6 here outside the municipal building by the mayor, and the Floyd Ward dancers that always kick it off. and it was just, I mean, the floats just kept coming, so it was a great evening. I think everybody had fun. So a shout out to the Veterinary Chamber of Commerce, Public Works, and the Police Department for helping with that.
Yeah, it was a good evening, that's for sure. Okay, any other announcements? All right, if not, we'll move on to request to postpone or change the order of the agenda. I understand you got something, Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I would like to propose to add item K6. The item will be to consider a resolution to support a funding request for improvements to I-81. And Cody Sexton will present that item. Thank you, sir.
All righty, thank you. Council, any objections to the changes? If not, we don't have to vote on that, right? We just go ahead. Okay, with that, we'll move to the consent agenda, which tonight contains the minutes of the regular meeting of the November 15th council meeting. Any changes? So moved. Any support? Second?
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right, now to the fun part, and that's our awards and introductions. Chief Drummond, I think you're first this evening, right?
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, members of council and staff. I'd like to call Deputy Chief Lawless up here. First of all, we have the pleasure of introducing Ms. Jenny to you all. I've had the pleasure of working with Jenny when I was a patrol officer, so this is really nice that we got her back to Vinton, back to the team, and she gets to work alongside us.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, town staff, it is my pleasure to introduce our new records manager. The records manager position is an extremely important position within our police department. It's very critical to the operations that we have. Basically, everything the officers do on a day-to-day basis funnels through the records department. So Ms. Rose will definitely have her hands full. Well, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ms. Jenny Rhodes. And to give you a little background on Miss Rhodes, she grew up in the Roanoke-Vinton area. She graduated from William Byrd in 2006. She was a member of the first aid crew for over 8 years and still holds an active EMT certification. Before coming to the Vinton Police Department, she was a dispatcher supervisor for Roanoke City E911 Center. She was there for over 7 years. During that time, she received several accommodations as well as a Kiwanis Club Award for her work while giving CPR instructions for a 1-year-old. When not working, she does enjoy spending time with her husband, Chris, who is here tonight. They've been married for almost 4 years, and she likes spending time with their 3 cats. They like to take random trips whenever possible. One of the favorite places she has been was to Ireland, which her and her husband went for their honeymoon.
Nice.
She enjoys reading a lot and spending time with her 13 nieces and nephews. She is an avid animal lover and is obsessed when it comes to detail and origination. Ms. Rhodes has fit in extremely well with our department in the short time that she has been here. She has a wonderful attitude every single day, always has a smile on her face. She is a joy to be around, and we're so blessed to have her as part of our team.
All right, thank you.
Welcome again. Welcome back, I guess I should say.
Good to see you.
Welcome, glad to have you.
Ma'am, welcome.
Keep these boys in line.
Fans for a second while nobody's watching us.
Right over here.
Do one more. Lights fine? Thank you.
I'm very excited to join the police department. So far, I've enjoyed what I've learned so far and look forward to being a part of the team for a long time.
All right, thank you. Well, Jenny, just let me say, I feel like we're welcoming an old friend back home. You know, we all remember you from the days in the rescue squad, so good to see you around. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with you.
All right, next up, we plugged in 2 recognition awards. We were blessed enough to have 2 officers that work in sister platoons work together today, so I jumped on the opportunity, so thank you all for allowing us to capture this today. First officer I'll call up here is Officer Grant Shepard. This is a certificate of recognition and is hereby awarded to Grant Shepard for professional achievement in the superior performance of your duties while assigned as a patrol officer with the Vinton Police Department. On August 7th, 2022, Officer Shepard responded to a call for service regarding an unresponsive woman at a local business parking lot. Upon his arrival, he located a vehicle parked in the parking lot with several bystanders around the vehicle. An initial assessment of the scene uncovered that the vehicle was additionally occupied by 2 young kids that were unharmed. What described as a chaotic scene, Officer Shepard took immediate action and cleared the bystanders attempting to wake up the unconscious driver. Officer Shepard checked the driver and determined that she was not breathing. He again checked her neck for a pulse but was unsuccessful. The driver, who was slumped over, was immediately extracted from the vehicle to start chest compressions. Once extracted, the assisting officer, Lieutenant Hurt, conducted sternum rubs while Officer Shepard reassessed for a pulse. Both officer actions were unsuccessful in waking up the driver. Officer Shepard began chest compressions where the female would abruptly gasp, open her eyes, and begin breathing on her own. And in quick succession, the female became unresponsive again, and Officer Shepard continued with chest compressions until emergency medical services arrived. At this point, it was determined that the female had a pulse again but could not breathe on her own. And given the circumstances and the observations of officers on the scene, emergency services who are now on scene administered Narcan to the driver and transported her to the hospital. We are blessed and humble to have a modern-day community caretaker like Officer Shepard within our ranks in our community. The action taken by Officer Shepard is an example of a modern-day man with a servant's heart, remarkable traits, and the propensity to do extraordinary things. And on that day, Officer Shepard gave a fellow citizen another opportunity at life. Congratulations to you, sir.
Wow.
You can stay up here with us. Along with that scene, officers work hand in hand with one another. This is a team, and this is an example of a well-oiled machine when officers can work cohesively with each other and address a multitude of issues. As I sort of reflected earlier on this was a chaotic scene because it wasn't just an unresponsive person, but bystanders were involved, of course, and there were also kids in the car, so there's different circumstances to everything, which takes our resources. And for that, I'd like to call Officer Brandon Charlton up here. On the same date, August 7, 2022, Officer Charlton responded to a call for service regarding an unresponsive woman in a vehicle at a local business parking lot. Upon his arrival, officers located a vehicle still in gear and running, backed into a concrete wall in the parking lot. Several bystanders were around the vehicle trying to wake up the driver and place the vehicle in park. An initial assessment of the scene also uncovered that the vehicle was additionally occupied by 2 young kids. Officers on scene were ultimately able to place the vehicle in park and remove the unconscious driver. While officers provided life-saving aid to the driver, Officer Shepard, Officer Charlton attended to the 2 children in the vehicle, one being almost 2 years old and the other only 3 months old. Officer Charlton recognized that the 3-month-old child was in distress and crying. Officer Charlton removed the child from its car seat and did everything he could to console him while officers rendered aid to the mother. Once the driver was transported to the hospital, officers remained on scene. More specifically, Officer Charlton continued to hold the child for the entirety of the incident while waiting for Child Protective Services for over an hour. Officer Charlton did not leave the children's side. Officer Charlton would ultimately feed one of the babies, burp him, change his diaper, and was able to find clean clothes for him. The actions illustrated by Officer Charlton are beyond exemplary. There are remarkable traits of a compassionate officer. Officer Charlton exhibited the highest stand of excellence and compassion and treated 2 children as if they were his own. It is people like Officer Charlton that make the world a better and safer place through their unwavering devotion to our community, our citizens, and of course, our children. Congratulations to you, sir, and thank you for your service. We'll take a picture.
Good job.
Awesome, man.
That was awesome. Thank you. Thank you for your work.
Tough situation to be in.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm blown away.
So that captures one incident with multiple dynamics and multiple scenarios where you exhibit life-saving compassion, empathy, and an exemplary team working together. And we couldn't have captured better through the actions of these 2 officers, and we're so proud to be able to share that with you today. And I appreciate you guys allowing us to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank
Chief,
you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. And officers, thank you for your service. It's, I'm just blown away. You know, it's certainly a combination of a lot of professional training and compassionate hearts. And, you know, I say all the time, the police department makes us proud every day. Well, this is certainly a day we can be proud of you folks and celebrate your courageous activities there. So thank you very much for what you've done. Counsel, you have some comments?
I do. Do you have children? Yeah, there you go. Congratulations, guys. I mean, that's just, you know, we can't say enough about that. And I mean, it's, you know, it's easy just to have waited for the rescue squad to get there, not tend to the children, wait for social services. But congratulations. I mean, we just honestly, we can't say enough. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the Christmas spirit is about. We said we're going to dress up festive tonight, but that's what it's about. Thank you so much.
You're right. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we are blessed with a wonderful police department under a great leadership. And you guys just continue to amaze me. I've got cold chills listening to that story. I mean, that would bring tears to your eyes. It was just amazing. So thank you so much for doing that. And the children sometimes, they're scared of the policemen, you know. They're always scared, but they won't be scared. Those 2 kids won't be scared. I don't know if the 3-month-old will remember it, but the other one would definitely remember it, that policemen are their friends. So thank you.
Good point. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not a situation that you wanted to be in, and not a situation that anybody would want to be in, but going in, taking charge, and actually bringing someone back to life in front of their 2 kids. I mean, it's life-changing for not only for them, but for you 2 as well, and for this town. So thanks for everything that you guys do. I'm sure this is just one thing that we're able to hear about, but every day you guys put your lives and on the line for this town, and it's good to hear stories like this. That was a sad story, but a good outcome. But we can only imagine what you guys go through every single day. So thanks, Chief, for bringing this to us.
Yep.
Thank you.
Again, thank you, folks, and congratulations. So, all right. I don't know how we can follow up on this.
It's time to eat pie and go home.
Yeah. Next item is citizen comments and petitions. I don't see any visitors this evening. Susan, I assume you haven't received anything in your office?
No, sir,
This
have
evening?
not.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, we'll move to our public hearing for this evening, and this concerns a proposed amendment to the 2022-2023 budget. Mr. Sexton, I believe. So I will officially open the public hearing, and we'll start with the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Tonight we have, it's a little bit of a cleanup business for the town. Going back to the negotiations and the ultimate transfer of the utility system to the Western Virginia Water Authority resulted in the town being able to keep its utility fund balance. So these were the funds that were generated over the years, over many numbers of years, of revenue from the utility system that was deposited into the fund balance in surplus of the year's operations. So we were blessed that those surpluses little by little did accumulate and have a healthy fund balance. So in those negotiations with the Water Authority, we had estimated that remaining fund balance would be approximately $2.5 million, which would come to the town for us to use really in any way we saw fit, but primarily for capital projects. One-time money coming from the utility fund we saw fit to use for one-time expenditures like these capital projects. So as we've moved through the first 5.5 months of the fiscal year and we've begun closing out all the books on the utility fund, giving refunds, issuing any remaining bills, we've come to a good point of sort of seeing where those fund balances are going to end up. And so tonight I bring forward a resolution that will transfer that money formally from the utility fund into the town's capital fund. This is sort of the penultimate step to closing out the utility fund. At some point later in the year, I'll bring forward sort of a final action to close out the remaining, since we do have a few ongoing projects. But these are funds that we are able to use as a result of all the negotiations with both the county and the Water Authority coming to the conclusion of transferring our system to the Western Virginia Water Authority, and now we want to be able to use either this year or in the future for capital projects.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that information. Anyone like to make a comment this evening? There's no public comments. We'll move to council. You have any questions for Cody or any discussion?
No, I would say it's a good situation to be in.
Yeah, it's nice. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's nice.
Yeah.
Not have to pay anybody anything. Just put it in the bank.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's we're very fortunate things worked out that way. Yes, ma'am. If there's no further comments, we'll close the public hearing and consider the resolution that you have before you, which would in fact make the proposed budget amendments as described by Mr. Sexton.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Lyles, second by Councilmember Mullins. Please call the roll, Susan.
Councilmember Lyles?
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins?
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall?
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty?
Yes.
Mayor Gross?
Yes. All right, resolution passes. And I always look at Jeremy to make sure I get all those legal things done properly. So thank you for being there, Jeremy. I like your tie. All right, I don't see any briefings listed for this evening, so we'll move on to the items that require action. And the first one is a amendment to an ordinance which would provide an amendment to the charter. No, actually, Chapter 62. Sorry about that. I didn't think it'd be a charter amendment. Anyhow, Nathan, I understand you're going to handle that, right?
Yes, sir, I am. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Before you is an ordinance to amend Chapter 62. This section governs the abatement of overgrowth on private property. And with this amendment of this definition of property, it expands the definition of property to also mean the area between the private property line of a parcel to the curb line, an improved portion of roadway, or the center line of an alley or an unimproved street. In essence, having this definition refined would allow for the code to match current practices and policies that are already happening within both the Planning and Zoning Department and the Public Works Department and the way we enforce these provisions. And overall, this current practice involves the requiring of the abatement of the overgrowth within reasonable areas of the right-of-way as meeting this definition. So by having this definition amended, it would match our current practices and policies within both these departments. And having it within the code legitimizes it and makes it more clear to all the stakeholders involved who are proactive in enforcing these measures in both departments.
Okay, thank you, sir. Council, you have any questions, comments? All right, if not, we need to consider an ordinance which would amend Chapter 62 of the Town Code as described by Nathan this evening.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Stovall, second by Councilmember Mullins. Susan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes.
you
Ordinance
all.
passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nathan.
All right, next one is an ordinance which would, I'm going to let Fayula describe this concerning animals and cats and dogs and all that good stuff, so I'm going to let you do all the description. Good evening, good to see you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, members of the council and town staff. So what we are looking at this evening is the amendment of Section 1097, which is basically the ordinance that covers keeping of chickens in the town of Vinton. We have received approximately over 11 inquiries over the past year that persons were asking for to keep chickens. The main restriction was that the requirement was 1 acre of land, which a lot of town residents do not have that or wouldn't be able to meet that requirement. So upon research, we found that Vinton had the most restrictive policies when it came to keeping chickens, and we decided that we were going to take out the acre requirement, but that means we had to make some changes to make sure that it doesn't disrupt other neighboring properties. So the major changes that we're looking at is 15 feet from, the pen itself should be 15 feet from neighboring property lines, approximately 40 feet from adjacent residential dwellings, and a minimum of 3 feet behind the rear property building line. We did adjust to say that no roosters shall be permitted at any time. We made that very clear so that we don't have that noise in the community. Additionally, we expanded the definition of pens to include the coop itself and increase the size of the pen to be 128 square feet maximum. And that was based on research that showed that chickens need approximately 2 square feet of space to live and approximately 8 square feet of play area, right? So it's also incorporating the health of chickens as well. We did keep a lot of important information where that we only allow 6 birds, and there is an application for a permit and a one-time fee of approximately $35. The pens have to be inspected before they have chickens, and also that we still have a strict standard of care to make sure that it is in keeping with proper procedures. And any violation from the ordinance can be reported and persons can have their permits revoked, right? So that is essentially the overall changes that we have for this ordinance.
Okay, thank you for you. Any questions or comments, folks?
Good job.
Yeah, I think that's a good job.
I'm glad that we revisited this because I always thought that it was a little, unfair, based on land. It's not your fault that you can't buy more than an acre of land in Vinton. Most houses in Vinton don't have an acre, so it was kind of an ordinance that only that a handful of people in the town could take advantage of. So I'm glad to see that we revisit this and change this for the citizens that want to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, more so now than ever, I would think.
Yeah.
More people. I feel like, and I could be wrong, I feel like at first when we first passed it, people had chickens, and then it kind of But I think nowadays, the way things are and with the pandemic and everything, I think more people are interested.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Sure.
I agree. I certainly appreciate the thorough report and the research you folks have done in the planning department. Art, and you're right, ours was very restrictive. Of course, you have to keep in mind, if I'm not mistaken, I think we were the first community, at least here in the central part of the valley, that allowed this. So we were kind of winging it, you know, and so I'm glad that we're, if I can use that term. Oh boy, it brings back a lot of memories. We had so many jokes about this, it was unreal, but there was a lot of discussion, and Janet Scheid was very instrumental in that, although I don't think she was on council at the time, but she pushed that forward. So yeah, it's good to know that we're flexible enough that we can revisit things like that. I appreciate the thoroughness of that. It's very good, very good. Any other comments? No? Okay, folks, you've heard a report that would change the ordinance concerning having chickens in Vinton. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt it.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Council Member Lyles, a second by Vice Mayor McCarty. Susan, if you would, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles?
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins?
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall?
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty?
Yes.
Mayor Gross?
Yes.
All right,
Thank you,
thank you.
Theo.
Thank you.
All right, next one is a resolution that would give the town manager some further authorization. Anita, I think you're going to do this one.
Good evening, Town Mayor,
Good evening.
member of the Town Council. As a follow-up to council briefing regarding Roanoke City project that requiring town-owned property for their stream project, Glade Creek Stream Restoration Project. As mentioned in the briefing, it involves 6 properties. Since then, the property is, they only need 5 town-owned property within the city limits. They really like this to be done as far as council action because the tree clearing need to be done before April 1st, and the pre-construction meeting for the project is scheduled for December 19. Having said that, staff has been working with Mr. Carroll on the agreement since last year, and we will continue working with Roanoke City and Roanoke County personnel on the project. The last parcel is Roanoke County-owned parcel, where the Greenway Phase 2A is. So that will be separately as far as the agreement, because we do have easement on that property, and the project will be in the where the Glade Creek Greenway Phase 2A is. So I'll be happy to answer any question that you may have.
Okay, thank you very much, Anita. Council, you have any questions, comments? Thank you for that report. I just love it when staff does all this detailed work and everything, and we come by and just, okay, let's do it. But we know that you folks have researched it thoroughly and everything. I think this is another great example of Valley cooperation. So thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
Okay, Council, you have before you a resolution that would approve the intergovernmental agreement as described by Anita.
Oh, go ahead, Sabrina.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Vice Mayor McCarty, second by Councilmember Mullins. Susan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles?
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins?
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall?
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty?
Yes.
Mayor Gross?
Yes, thank you. All right, moving right along. This is another resolution concerning our town committees. I guess so. Susan, you're going to take care of that one?
Yes, I am. At our November 15th meeting, council was briefed that we currently have 4 council committees that council members serve on: Finance Committee, Economic Development, Public Works, and Public Safety. At that briefing, town staff recommended that we dissolve the Public Safety Committee and refer any of those items to the Public Works Committee or the Highway Safety Committee, that we dissolve the current Economic Development Committee and establish a new committee, which is Community Development Committee. This will fulfill feel a need for a committee to review items from the Planning and Zoning Department, Community Programs Department, and the Office of Economic Development. So if council agrees with our recommendation tonight at our organizational meeting on January 3rd of '23, we will appoint new members to the 3 committees. So if you'd like to adopt the resolution, it's before you.
All right, thank you very much, Susan. You folks heard the report. Any questions, comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Mullins, second by Vice Mayor McCarty to adopt the resolution for a new committee structure. Susan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles?
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins?
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall?
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty?
Yes.
Mayor Gross?
Yes. Moving right along to our next one, I think town manager's going to handle this highly controversial move.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This is regarding our scheduled December 20th, 22 council meeting. Due to the not having any urgent or pressing items scheduled for that evening and considering the week of Christmas, is my recommendation that we cancel the December 20th, 2022 council meeting.
All right. I know there's going to be a lot of discussion and controversy.
I have a lot of questions.
Kicking and screaming.
I think I'm just gonna come down here and sit outside the building.
Yeah.
Put your, wear your hat, don't
Wear
get
my hat,
your
that's right.
I think with everything that we've done and accomplished this year, I'll make a motion to.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second it.
All right. We have a motion by Councilmember Lyles, second by Councilmember Stovall to cancel the council meeting.
Everybody take the day off. Or the evening off, sorry.
Please call the roll.
All right. Councilmember Lyles?
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins?
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall?
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty?
Yes.
Mayor Gross?
Yeah. Okay, so I understand we have one last item concerning I-81.
Yes, sir. And very appropriate that you had mentioned Valley Cooperation under the previous item.
Yeah.
Town staff were contacted late last week about a proposed application that the Commonwealth Transportation Board was planning to discuss at their meeting today and tomorrow and move forward to fund a gap in the widening of the I-81 project. So for the entire length between Christiansburg and exit 150 in Daleville, there is only one remaining section southbound from exit 137, which is the Wildwood Road, West Salem exit, to 128, which is the Ironto exit. So that stretch of about 9 miles southbound was the only remaining stretch that wouldn't have a widening project in that entire 32-mile length from Christiansburg to Daleville. So between funding from the region, funding from SmartScale, and direct funding from the I-81 Commission, everything else had been funded. And so at the request of CTB member Mr. Ray Smoot, and in coordination with VDOT Salem District and Roanoke County transportation staff, we would like to offer up this resolution of support for that project to move forward and help sort of support this region-wide strategic initiative of getting the entire length of 81 in both directions widened to 3 lanes.
Great, great. Thank you, sir. I personally think it's good news. Lord knows it needs it. That's for sure. So, Council, you've heard Cody's report. Are there any questions, comments? Nope. If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Okay. I have a motion to adopt by Councilmember Mullins, second by Councilmember Stovall. Susan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles?
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins?
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall?
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty?
Yes.
Mayor Gross?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Council. We got a lot of work done this evening. Very good. And with that, we'll move to the town managers, although I don't see anything listed. Anything you want to?
Just a couple of comments, if I may. I just wanted to remind the folks who listening or may listen to this later, and also to reflect in the minutes, reminder about the Code Red emergency notification system. Debbie, thank you for the article last week. Nicely done. And want to acknowledge Julie Tucci's work on this, the project coordinator. She's done an excellent job putting this program together. But that program did launch last week, and so I encourage residents to visit our website. There's multiple ways to register, text to register, click on the QR code, lots of ways, very simple process. And we'll begin to start to use that system more robustly as necessary. And this is weather alerts, traffic alerts, community safety alerts. So you can pick the choice when you register of which kind of notifications you'd like to receive. So this is in response to our citizens' request for us to provide more information. And so we're going to utilize this to the extent possible. And I just want to encourage everybody to get registered. The other item I just wanted to acknowledge, the Garthright Bridge continues. We did take a slight pause on that rehabilitation work that's going on the underneath. So when you approach the bridge, there's barricades, but you don't see anyone working. And that's because they're actually underneath the structure. So I just wanted to kind of acknowledge that, and wanted to just highlight the modifications we had during the Thanksgiving break and then for the Christmas parade. We took a little bit of a slight pause and made a couple adjustments to the lane closures, just provide traffic to flow easily, but now we're back to kind of typical work. So you'll see more lane closures and kind of more constricted during that during that section. But it continues to flow very well. I think their traffic controls measures have worked well and has caused very minimal impacts on our traffic. So that probably should continue maybe another 45 days or so. Obviously the contractors are going to work quickly as possible to get wrapped up. Weather's cooperated so far, but it looks like this week's going to be damp and maybe turn cold next week, so you never know. But we'll continue to keep you posted on those improvements. And lastly, just want to acknowledge the traffic signals that went in at Hardy Bypass, Vineyard Hardy, and Niagara Hardy last week. Those went in very well, and those seem to be functioning pretty good. We still got some tweaks to make on the synchronization. And so the next phase of the traffic signals is now to have a traffic engineer properly program them. So that work should be taking place early in the new year. So we've made some initial improvements on the timing, but the next phase is the really exciting part when they'll all flow together. And there'll be more details shared with that on social media and through our website and through this meeting. But I just wanted to acknowledge that phase one's done on those sections, and now that we have, let's see, six traffic signals on that corridor updated in the last maybe 15 months. Now the synchronization can happen, and that will really change things. In addition, on January 3rd, we'll be presenting to Council some additional updates on traffic signals that are actually community-wide. So we have 11 traffic signals in Fenton proper, and we'll be installing, replacing Opticoms in some of the intersections and installing Opticoms in intersections without those. And those are interceptors that the emergency services department uses to clear the traffic in advance of the apparatus arriving through that intersection. So it really helps in response time. So we'll be presenting some additional information at the next council meeting.
I believe council members need one of them on
Your
my Jeep.
Pete, with that, we do have Opticom in the town already in certain.
I think there are 5 intersections currently, and several of those have shown their age and aren't operating at optimal capacity. And so we took a hard look at this. We went ahead and kind of had discussions with Roanoke County about each intersection. We went through very detailed discussions at every intersection to see what the best improvements could be made there to really impact traffic. It's really for the safety of the emergency service vehicles, but it also provides safety for the individuals that are in their own vehicles, and so this makes it better for everybody. So we looked at every intersection very hard and made sure that we had the right equipment there. the emergency service personnel had been requesting some additional traffic signals, have those installed in addition to replacing some of the ones that tend to foul up on occasion. And so we just decided we would, we had the opportunity here with a capital improvement fund that we could supply the necessary equipment. So we'll share a little bit more specific details, and I've asked Deputy Chief Campbell's, thank you, to come to the next meeting to provide some additional discussion about all the advantages and benefits of having these installed. So previously we had 5. We're going to install them on all 11 signals.
Oh, good. Yeah, I saw some talk on social media yesterday or the day before about, wondering why the town didn't have them. I was sure that we had them. I've noticed that some of them work, some of them don't at times, but it's good to see that we're going to replace them all. So just wanted to make sure that that was on our agenda as well to do.
Yeah, so all 5 of existing will be replaced, and the other 6 intersections will add them. And we did confirm that these will work with the city Roanoke apparatus as well, because they do travel through Vinton. And one other thing that we're going to add in some cases of the intersections that already have them is two-way signalization, because sometimes when once they arrive to the scene, then they still have to get to the hospital, or in some cases they're responding to back-to-back calls. And so we didn't have that capability for two-way in some of the intersections. Now we will.
Okay.
So that will really help our response times.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
The last item I really just wanted to touch on was the Walden Avenue project. I think this is what's happening from the town limits at the low water bridge by Cargill up through the 5th Street Bridge. I think we're through the most difficult phase of that, and that was really the very tight, narrow stretch down by Cargill and Bob's and Viking Fence. Most of that additional curb and sidewalk has been completed, the apron cuts. So now we're back up kind of in the middle section where it's a little wider right-of-ways. So I appreciate the citizens' patience with us as we were constricting traffic there during that critical phase. But I feel like the most difficult part's behind us. There's some utility poles being moved now, so the project had slowed down just a little bit because of some other kind of conditions out of our control. But I think that's starting to finalize again. So the traffic control measures won't be as frequent as they have been, again, because where they'll be working is a little bit more out of the right of way rather than impacting the direct traffic. I don't have an exact end date that this will be finished. It's a lot weather dependent, and the final paving won't happen until spring once the asphalt plants reopen. We're not going to make the window. They'll probably start shutting down next week, I would guess. And so the final paving and striping won't happen probably till March or April would be my best guess. But I just wanted to kind of give an update on where we were on the construction and with that project. But it's going well, and I think it's going to be a really great improvement once it's complete, and really change that entrance into our town and make it safer for pedestrians and the existing traffic that flows through that critical intersection.
Yeah.
And that concludes my report. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir, for that report. Really, really good information. And you mentioned a couple of things that sometimes impede traffic a little bit. And so we just appreciate the patience of our citizens and the folks that travel through town. There's a lot going on in Vinton, a lot of improvements being made. And so obviously we have to put up with some of the inconvenience for a short period of time while that construction takes place. And obviously those repairs to the bridge is very crucial, very vital. So we have to do those sort of things. So thank you for that report. So I don't see any reports from the committees this evening, so we'll move on to comments by council. Councilmember Lyles, would you like to start this evening?
Sure. Hey, what a good year.
Yeah.
This being the last council meeting, it's been a really good year. A lot of things have happened this year to benefit the town. Like I said in the very beginning, one of the best things is Cody's been here a year now, a whole solid year.
Yeah.
No, but all jokes aside, it is we're in a position that this town's never seen before.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be really interesting to see what we do next year. You know, with everything, with some of the projects that's in the future, this is going to be the place to be.
Yes.
It already is to me, but it's going to be the place to be. The parade, from what I understand, was great. Unfortunately, I was feeling like, well, I'm not a trooper like him because I stayed home, but I was feeling like Jeremy Carroll. And I did not feel like doing the parade, although I wanted to be there. It was cold, and I felt horrible. So, but it looked like it was a really good time. Probably from what I hear, one of the best ones that we've ever had. So.
Good. Yeah.
Hats off to the chamber.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, sir. Ma'am? Yeah, man.
Yeah, I agree with Keith that this has been a wonderful year of great happenings, and look forward to what comes next year and the year after that. And I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you guys next year.
You bet. You bet. And thank you for the pie.
Oh, and you're welcome.
All right. Ma'am, you have anything further?
Well, along with the Christmas spirit and the good news we heard from the police department, I just want to add that the spaghetti dinner from the Lions Club on the night of the parade was really nice. I got mine to go before, like early on, and it was so nice to go in and see. We had people eating, we had people talking, we had the Leo Club from the high school helping. They were busy as they could be. And when I walked out the door, I just had this warm feeling of this is a small town thing. This is what I like. This is what Benton's about.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to do that. I hadn't done that in a long time. One of the spaghetti or pancake, things that they do, and it was really nice.
Right. Yeah, good point. Very good comment. Thank you. Sir, anything further?
Parade was wonderful. I agree with them as far as the year's been, and Mr. Lyles, the fact that, we are in truly a great position. And if we look back to the fact that when we relied solely on the water for income for this town.
Yeah.
And we've now given the water away. So, and I do want to add, that once again take my hat off to our police department. I'm sure all of you know, I'm a member of the Moose Lodge, and the pandemic stopped this from happening, but they started back this year, and they really didn't know how it happened, but they brought, on the 2nd of December, they brought 10 school buses for special needs students to the Moose Lodge. When they got off of the bus, some walking, some needing assistance, some in wheelchairs, one child had a trach. Our police department had, I think, 9 officers there, greeting them, high-fiving them, hugging them, doing those kind of things. They came in, had pancakes and sausage. Of course, got to see the one they were there to see, who sits in the big red and white chair. And it was absolutely, for the community, it was just absolutely great. Police department being there and everything. So, yeah, it is. And so I actually I'll get with you, and hopefully maybe in December we can bring those people in along with the police officers that were there here, just to recognize them, because now that they see what it was doing, they want to invite council next year to come to it and all that. But they didn't really know because of the pandemic. But it was really great. And I mean, it was just, that's what God tells us to do, is give back to the less fortunate. So hats off to you and your police department and of course, the community.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah, that sounds like great activity. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. Really. Well, you folks have touched on a lot of great things. This is certainly a wonderful time of year, and I think a wonderful place to live. We're very blessed here in the town of Vinton. It's been a good year, and actually I think our entire valley has really done well this year. A lot of good things going on. One thing I failed to mention earlier, and I always like to mention, we went through a lot of ordinances and resolutions this evening rather quickly, and that's because of the preparation that the town staff had done. They are always very thorough, and of course the council is very familiar with this stuff by the time it gets to us. So I always like to let folks know that wasn't as quick as it may have seemed. And things do continue. All of our council members attend regional meetings and our own regional boards and commissions, as well as our staff members. So we do participate regionally. A good example of that, I think, and I think it's a good example of Valley cooperation, is Cody and I had the opportunity to attend a regional legislative luncheon. I can't say that very well, but I can't say it quickly, but it's an opportunity for all the Valley governments to meet with our state legislators to present their needs and wants, and it was a very productive meeting. And another example of how things work, certainly between Roanoke County and the town of Benton, the town manager and I had an opportunity to meet with our representative on the County Board of Supervisors, Jason Peters, along with the county administrator, Richard Kaywood. And those are just some of the things that kind of go on behind the scenes that I do think are important. One thing I would like to give a big shout out to the folks that got to attend the community church service on November 20th. Several churches in town got together for that, and they had a love offering. It was quite sizable, and so I just want to thank those folks for their generation. Their hearts certainly in the right places, and that donation was passed along to the Lions Club, the Breakfast Lions Club, for their Christmas fund. So it all certainly went to good work, particularly at this time of year. And I want to thank Vice Mayor McCarty and Councilmember Mullins for being at the Christmas tree lighting. You braved the cold, come out and see that. Well, actually, and a lot of staff worked hard on that, and staff was there, and the tree got lit perfectly this year. So thank you, sir, for that.
We was on the way, wasn't we?
Traffic, sir.
We was on the way.
Yeah, I know. You were playing.
We was on the way.
There was a lot of traffic that night.
There was a lot of
traffic.
There was a lot of.
You talking about being on your toes now? He takes us back. Well, you were with us. He takes us back to the War Memorial. We're riding up Washington Avenue, and really, when there's not cars on Washington Avenue, it's kind of dark. But anyway, we get about halfway up Washington Avenue. Here comes this student. Down the road, down the middle of Washington Avenue, black bicycle, black shirt, black pants, no lights, no nothing. I'm thinking, goodness sakes, and of course, yeah. But yeah, it was,
Yeah. You're right. There's a lot of traffic, and a lot of people contribute to that to keep it a safe activity, and it takes a lot of people to pull that off. So,
Sure.
Kudos to the police department,
Absolutely.
Public Works, actually all of our town
everybody.
staff. They work hard on that. So with that, you'll be glad to know my Christmas present to all of you is that I'm going to shut up. So I do want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas. Hope you get time to spend. It's a time of togetherness. Hope you get time to spend with your family, fellow members in the community, and certainly time with God. And so with that, Merry Christmas. Anything else to come before council this evening? If not, thank you, folks. We will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And may I say, you guys look spiffy. So thank you. All right, we are adjourned.